Okay, welcome to this week's session with Marléne and Pascale. This week we thought we'd take the opportunity to tell you a little bit about ourselves actually and what we do. We've been absolutely loving doing these live sessions or pre-recorded sessions, talking about various topics, but we thought we'd go a little bit deeper into what we do, why we do it, why we love it so much. Just in case any of you are curious about finding out more about us and would like to know more about working with us individually. So before we get into that, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Pascale Lane. I'm a relationship and confidence coach, and I work with women predominantly in their 40s and help them heal into the life that they truly deserve with more happiness, confidence and success. Marléne?
Hi, I'm Marléne Rose Shaw. I'm a therapist and a coach and an author, and I help people with confidence and relationships as well. I work with individual clients and I work with couples.
Fantastic. That's one of the main differences, I think, just kind of like jumping on that immediately. I think that's one of the main differences that sets us apart is I don't tend to really work with couples that much anymore. Whereas you do. So what do you really enjoy about couples work, and what do you love about what you do?
Oh, I love working with couples. I love working with couples. I love bringing people together again. I love when a couple realizes that they're basically both feeling the same feelings, the same fears, the same worry, the same rejection, the same apprehension, and they can communicate again. And sometimes couples are not getting back together. Sometimes they're coming to the end of a relationship, but that too is, that being able to help them end their relationship, because they're not ending their relationship, they're changing their relationship into a different form, particularly if they've got kids, but even if they haven't.
Yeah.
And I always say to couples, even if you went to the opposite ends of the earth and you never spoke to each other ever again, you'd still have a relationship in here, in your memories. So it really is good to end it in its current form in the best way you possibly can.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's so true, isn't it? Like end it in a positive way so that your memories aren't hurtful, aren't angry, aren't full of animosity or whatever, but actually remain. Because you're right. Because I always think about couples remaining in remain in a relationship even if they're not together anymore because of the children. But actually, you're so right. Even if there aren't any children involved, the relationship remains in their heads, and so you choose to make that either positive or not.
Yeah, I mean, people will always be connected, whether it's just that very, very distant thing, or they've got children, or they've got businesses, or there's some reason, or they want to be friends, and quite often, couples will say, look, we think we're at the end, and then, I sort them out a few sessions and they're back together again. So, it's mostly bringing couples back together again, but ultimately it's about relationship and making it the best relationship it can be. So yeah, that's what I love about working with couples.
Lovely. It is wonderful work that we do. I do think we are in a very, very privileged position to be able to help individuals or couples. I mean, I do help couples, but I do it by predominantly now just by working with one person, the woman. But I mean, the knock-on effect to that, as you know, is that when we work on ourselves, then all of our relationships improve. So there is something about being in the position to help people to, have the relationships that they want, but also just bring that kind of, I don't know, I want to say kind of like peace, resolution, healing, however you want to word it, back into their lives again. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
I think so. And most of my clients are expats, because I'm an expat and you are now as well.
Absolutely.
And I've been living abroad for a few years now, and I've lived in 3 different countries. So I'm very aware of expat, what it's like to be an expat individually and as a couple. And I've helped so many expat clients over the last few years. I know their needs inside and out. And they do, expats do have specific issues that come up.
I was going to say, what do you think that they struggle with? What are the main issues that come up?
There's there's a number of things that individual clients as expats and couples face. And some of those overlap, things like social isolation, for example. But one of the things I find with couples a lot, my expat couples, is that there will be things like, for example, I said, sometimes even if they stay together in a different relationship, it's because they run a business, because most expats run businesses. If they're not retired, and a lot of them aren't, they don't have a job, they run a business. So they have this dream idea, they're going to move abroad, start this fantastic business, and be independent, and they won't have to go to work anymore. And actually they get abroad and they find they're working all hours, they're exhausted, they've got a whole load of bureaucracy to deal with, and it's a huge adjustment. And the other big thing that expats find is that they think that if they move abroad, they'll leave their problems behind. And actually, they bring their problems with them. And for couples, it can be really difficult in their relationship because they've left all their support network behind, their family, their friends, the people that they might go and moan to about each other occasionally. They might have chats on Zoom with people and WhatsApp and that sort of thing, but it's not the same for them. And suddenly they've brought their problems with them and they're cooped up together in this new environment with a bit of culture shock going on and a lot of stress and bureaucracy and things to deal with. And so it becomes this big melting pot. And so it's really important that we work together to understand, the current stresses of the environment, how things are different, but also to resolve some of those problems that they thought they left behind, but they've just brought with them.
Yeah.
And then there's other things. Sometimes you might have somebody who is working, but they're working back, say, in the UK, for example, and they're traveling back and forth, they're commuting back and forth. And so the family gets quite fractured because one minute one parent, they've got this a single parent family, the next minute the other parent's back, but then the kids are like, well, I don't know, am I supposed to do what you say or what you say? Because we've formed our own little unit here while you've been away for the last month or something, and now you're back, dad or mum. And so there's this constant sort of adjusting, having to make adjustments. So there's lots of different things that come up for expats. That some of them, as I say, are things that they issues they've had already, but they've brought with them. But there are some that are specific to having relocated and being in a new environment. And I think, people need somebody who specializes and has experience of being an expat and working with expats to be able to understand that.
And knows what it's like.
And knows what it's like. And
really, truly.
You're a new expat, so I'm sure you're already sort of noticing things like stress with bureaucracy and
I mean, the bureau. When you said the bureaucracy, I just felt this this tension in my chest. The bureaucracy is next level. Although I'm very, very, very lucky to have a husband who's got far more of an eye for detail than I have and is on it. So, but yeah, I mean, it is an additional layer that I think most people wouldn't consider.
People don't, and they, particularly for their relationships as well, they don't.
Yeah.
And my aim is to help people. You've got this wonderful new life, you've got this wonderful adventure, you're sort of expanding your life into something new, and my aim is to help people not only get over their issues, but to actually expand their relationship to a higher level as well, so their relationship is also having a wonderful adventure as well. So that's because that's how it can be. You know, it's a big learning experience moving abroad, and it's about evolving and growing. And people can do that for their relationship. It can be better than it ever was before they moved.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I'm you know, I'm new to our life in Spain now. We've been here for 2.5 months now.
Oh, you're a
I'm
baby.
I'm a baby, newborn. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, absolutely fantastic. But I mean, it is a lot.
Mm.
It is a lot. I don't think it has put a strain on my relationship, but I can definitely see how it could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I definitely see how it could do. It's and like you say, if you've got difficulties, then coming to a new life, it's a bit like, I hope you appreciate the analogy. It's a bit like when people have babies to save their relationship.
Yes.
It's just like, trust me, having a baby is not going to bring you closer together. It's going to do the exact opposite, unless your relationship is absolutely solid, solid as a rock. What introducing something life-changing that requires a lot of time and energy is not going to solve your problems, trust me.
It's the same thing. It's a very similar thing. And the other thing that I find is sometimes I work with expat couples who've been here for quite some time, or you know, in whichever country for quite some time. But there were things that came up when they first relocated that they never resolved, and that has sown a seed of resentment and passive aggressive. Sometimes they're still, you know, they're still angry about that thing that you said 10 years ago when we first got here. You know, when you said to me, well, you didn't want to stay, and you know, and all this sort of thing, and they've never really resolved those issues. So, you know, however long a person has been an expat, there can be issues that just need to be resolved, and can be resolved quite easily with a bit of therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we'll be putting the link in the comments section, just to kind of say that now, actually. So it's a great place to add that. We'll be putting the links to our contact details in the comments below this video, so that if you want to get in touch with you, Marléne, or me, they can do that quite easily. Yeah.
That's great. So Pascale, share more about you and your clients.
So I just absolutely love what I do. I've got so much. I've been on such a journey over the last like 12 months. I mean, I think like life is a journey, and our work as an entrepreneur is a journey. But I think it's been like really monumental, particularly over the last kind of 6 months. I combine therapy and life coaching together, and so like you, Marléne, I do relationship and confidence coaching, but I concentrate very much on, so I look at all areas of life. I work with women predominantly in their kind of 40s, early 50s, kind of like 40 to 55. And it's really around kind of like identity, like where you are in your relationships, improving maybe your marital relationships, but maybe your like your external relationships with your loved ones. Ultimately, my work is about self-worth, and that is the golden thread that runs through all of the work that I do. So whether we're talking about relationships, money, sex, body, you know, any area, the golden thread that I pull on all the time is your self-worth and your self-confidence. How much do you think that you deserve? Where are you settling? What are the stories that you learned? I do a lot. I'm very my work is very much based in the lessons that we learned about ourselves as children growing up, the lessons that we learned within our family, our parents' relationship, how they communicated with each other, how they communicated with us, what our role is, and how much of that we bring into our adult life. Like I say, our adult relationship with our partner, with our loved ones, with our children, with our work, but always bringing it back to self-worth. Where are you? What do you deserve? Where are you compromising? Where are you settling on what you think you deserve?
I think we settle without even realizing we're settling.
So much. So much we settle. There is nobody, or there are very, very few people who aren't settling on one of the major components, of life. And so I help my clients to understand that, and what I love about that, and why I've so I said, I've come to accept now that I am the whole package, that I help them with the whole package. And the reason I was always quite worried about being a generalist, like I didn't want to kind of say like I do, I can help you fix it all. But actually the reality is I can help you fix it all, because when I help you fix this one thing, everything improves.
Place, doesn't it?
Like everything will be improved when you feel confident in yourself, and you know what you want, and you know what you deserve, and you heal the part of you that needs to be healed in order for you to achieve that. Everything and everyone around you will benefit, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, totally.
Can I ask you, Pascale, I know that you have young children. Would you say that a lot of your clients also have young children? Is parenting something that comes into your focus?
Yeah, I think parenting is a big part of the work that I do. And I think you're right to draw on it, because I think ultimately we do end up, mostly, not exclusively, but we do end up pulling in our people, because we identify with them, they identify with us, it's our story. So I identify being a mother over and above everything else that I do. Like that's the stage of the life that I'm in at the moment. I've got young children, they are my absolute priority. So for my clients, they will also mostly, not exclusively, but mostly have young children. Because there's something there around how much we lose our identity when we have children, especially in those earlier years. So my girls are 7 and 10. So they're getting older, but I mean, they're still babies to me. I mean, they'll always be babies to me. But we lose our identity in terms of when we have a baby, we don't necessarily give up the career, but the career kind of usually takes a step back while we go into parenting. Our relationship definitely takes a step back while we go into parenting. And then as our children grow, we then somehow have to manage, most of us, myself, have to manage looking after children, being primary carer to the children, running my own business, or going to work and doing the job properly, either way work, managing a relationship and making time for the relationship, and making time for, in intimacy in all of its terms, in not just in terms of sexual intimacy, but in terms of actually staying connected with your partner and having things in common together that are where you're not just talking about the kids all the time. And then you've got to manage a home, and you've got to make time for yourself and make sure that you're doing your exercise and you're making time for self-care and doing all of that. And it becomes absolutely exhausting, Marléne. And so a lot of my clients really identify with that, because they're at a similar time in their life as well, where we just think, well, what about me? Where's the time for me? And I talk about this a lot, of being kind of like bottom of the pile. We were talking right at the beginning about that self-worth piece. And the thing is that we put ourselves at the bottom of the pile for two reasons. First of all, it's just so much bloody easier. because there's so many other things that we've got to do. We've just got to get on and do all of those things. And also, it's just, I think, from an energy point of view, it's exhausting to try and remember to fight your own battle all of the time. So I really encourage my clients to not see it as it doesn't have to be a battle. It doesn't have to be exhausting. Actually, when you learn to look after yourself and prioritize your own needs as well as everybody, it's not either or. It's not like I look after myself and therefore I negate everybody else's needs. It's I look after my own needs as well as looking after your needs, which means that we are all happy. We are all getting what we need. We are all coming from a place of worthiness and deserving, and that makes this ship run a lot smoother.
I'm very struck by the fact that you were saying a few minutes ago about how you don't want to generalize, but you kind of do, because you help people, you help women sort of do, everything falls into place, all parts of their life come together. And then you went on to talk about being at this stage in your life where you've got all these different things going on.
I know.
So it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. I look back, and I was quite young when I had my son, and so I had those mothering years, those very early years, and then I went back into education when he was about 5, and took it from there. So I didn't have, I suppose I was juggling, but I wasn't doing it in the baby years. I had that opportunity that time. So so I can sort of hear what you're saying, that your clients would be more like yourself, women who are doing it all at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard, but it's also wonderful, and it's not about I think it's also about being able to accept when things are hard, and also be able to see beyond it. I can remember, saying it to a friend. We had young babies at the time. Hers was younger than mine, and it's like this stage feels like it's going on for an eternity. But one day you'll look back and you'll realize that you haven't had that thing that drove you crazy for so long, and it'll be a distant memory. So I think it also helps to see things in not to box things up, and not to wish that they're over, but also to just be able to see it as that this is a time. And soon this phase will be over and we'll be into the next phase. So there's something there about feeling the feelings and being okay with feeling the feelings. We talked about this privately earlier on, and actually being okay with where you are now, and knowing that it's a phase, it's transient.
It's a chapter.
It's a chapter.
Do you think it's important then that as therapists that we evolve and grow to work with the appropriate clients for the chapter that we're in currently? So, for example, me working with expats and couples, because that's kind of where I'm at.
I don't think it's something. I don't think it's a should. I don't think it's a should rule that's what we should be doing. But I think I just think it's a natural part of the process, to be honest with you. I mean, I've worked with, I've worked with men, I've worked with older ladies, I've helped women end marriages, toxic relationships. I feel like I've kind of done it all. And I work with single women that don't have any children equally. But I think the big piece of the pie tends to be women who, because it's not just who I want to work with, it's women who identify with me.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not about, I don't feel like I pick my clients. Like, I don't feel like I have a I work with mums who are 35 to 38, or I don't do that, but they identify with me, like your clients identify with you, because they see something in us which resonates with them, and they feel connected to and familiar with.
They know that we get them.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, because there's something about when we connect with our clients that it's not just, there's something almost intangible, that sense of connection, of knowingness between ourselves and our clients, that they don't have to explain every detail of everything. They can tell us their personal story, but we get them because we understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
And sometimes we don't even have to say, oh, I know how that feels, because they just know that we know.
I just think there's something really
together.
There's something so beautiful, isn't there, about and I hear this a lot, and I'm certain you hear it a lot too, where our clients feel able to tell us their story, and usually there's something in there that they've never shared with anyone before, and that we can provide that safety for them in order to be totally vulnerable. I was listening to something this morning, actually, as I was doing my morning walk, about how when we share, sorry, I don't want to go off tangent, but like one of the biggest things that we can do in order to gain confidence and heal is to speak about the things that we feel most ashamed about, and kind of put them out in the open, and how empowering that is, because actually what we feel shame about usually either isn't that big a deal, or when we share it, we find other people who have very similar stories, and therefore we find a healing in that kind of thing. And I think helping clients to talk about things that they feel great shame about is, I always feel incredibly honored. Like I always feel incredibly humbled that little old me, just sitting here in my dad's chair in my office, can help somebody talk about something that they've felt unable to talk about all these years. And when they talk about it, and I had this with a client last week, and she came back the following week, and she just looked completely different. Like I could see on her face this lift, this kind of like this look of kind of almost like peace.
It's an energy shift, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gosh, I know we could talk about this forever, Marléne. I feel like we've been talking for ages. Maybe we should bring this back to our next session and talk about this on our next session. What do you think?
I think we should talk more at some point about how we overlap in our work and the things we do differently. I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, maybe we can do that. I think we should talk more about what we do so we can help our audience to know a little bit more about us. So let's make that a regular thing where we talk about what we do. What do you think?
Who we are, what we do, so they know, how we can help them specifically.
Yeah, good shout. Sounds good. Perfect. All right. Well, happy to wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. And like we said at the beginning, we will put the link to both yours, Marléne, and my website. And there are links certainly within mine, I presume within yours as well, of how people can book a call to talk with us.
I always get this sense that I want to leave our recording with something for our audience, and I guess
a little golden nugget.
Well, just something, some words, and the words that are coming into my mind now are, if you're struggling in some way, don't struggle alone. You know, there's help for you. Just to, take that step, invest in yourself, get some sessions, and get on with this awesome, wonderful life that you deserve to have.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Live the life you truly deserve. 100%.
Mhm.
100%. So many
Don't be
people aren't living
alone.
the life.
Don't be
Yeah,
alone. There's always people to help you, and we're right here.
absolutely. Beautiful. As always. Wonderful. Okay. Until next time.
Bye bye.